You think you should start with believing everything.
No, I don't necessarily have an opinion on climate science. I really don't. So my question to you is, if you want to step outside of the scientific consensus, which is vast and involves 10,306 scientists, I don't necessarily have an opinion on climate science. I really don't. And just say I don't believe in it. Yeah. Even if you're right, you don't have enough information to say that.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You don't think we have to care about the environment? I don't necessarily have an opinion on climate science. Like, what do you
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit?
No.
Science,
Mouthpiece.
propagandist.
Yeah. No, okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, I'm not saying like we need to trash the environment. Like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
You don't believe in climate change?
Well, I think the climate always changes, I guess is what I should say. Do I believe that this is like, an issue that is being, that is global warming, which they've changed conveniently. They got rid of the word once scientists started disproving it. Now they only say climate change. No, I think that was just a way to extract dollars from Americans.
Okay, but this is an incredibly complicated subject.
Right.
And if you would have to talk to a bunch of different scientists, science, propagandists, and see how they gather data and see what they understand about CO2 levels and what's the danger of them and what can combat it and what could not. Have you done all this, or do you take this flippant opinion based on the party line?
This is not this, but I would not be able to.
It's very little disparity. Most scientists, the vast majority, agree that human beings are negatively affecting climate change.
Science, propagandists.
The vast majority. So you think that the very few scientists that disagree with the consensus are the ones that are correct?
Well, I think if something is it's either subjective or it's objective, and there are objective truths, right? But it's subjective if you're saying that there are some, and I don't think there's very little. There are some that don't get paid to go on TV. There's some that are not Bill Nye, who are not funded scientists, and that has been a whole.
Well, Bill Nye's not a scientist.
I know.
He's not. He's
it broke my heart when I found out.
Science.
Mouthpiece.
Propagandist.
But that's the point.
No, that's not a good word.
I don't think Al Gore is a scientist.
He's not. Right. But Bill Nye is like a science influencer or a science entertainer.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a background in actual science. He's not a scientist. He doesn't have a PhD. He's got an
I learned about him in school. Everything I did in science had to do with Bill Nye.
Well, he promotes science, and science is not bad.
Really, nigga?
But the real problem is with climate change is that, for sure, there has been ups and downs throughout the history of this planet. They're observable. They follow them in. Maybe it was one of the subjects that I had earlier today with Dr. Robert Schoch.
Science rules.
In 2014, the vast majority, 87% of scientists, said that human activity is driving global warming, yet only half the American public ascribe to that view. So, what website?
Well, Scientific American is not necessarily a random website.
T-minus 7 seconds.
Yeah, I don't believe this at all, just so you know.
You don't believe it like?
You think you should start with believing everything.
No,
Believe it.
I believe most of the time the consensus of scientists that are studying the data. But this is my question. Yeah. Why are you so sure? This is
because what you just said. Because what you just said.
This is an extremely complicated subject.
Well, let's be clear. Yeah. Global warming, global climate change is definitely real. It's happening. Well, the question is why is it happening?
It's not
that's
unique.
not. You're misrepresenting the issue. The issue is people think that human beings are exacerbating climate change to the point where there's a tipping point. We cross over that tipping point. We're going to deal with huge problems that could be corrected if we act now and put a lot of funding into climate control.
Okay.
And this is what Howard Bloom was on talking about a few days ago. He was talking about that the real future involves the technology of climate control.
And that what we have to be really careful of is letting it get too far where you can't ever stop it and pull it back. This is what scientists are warning about. This is why they want emission standards. This is why they want to figure out how to get people to be aware of the fact this is a real issue.
Now, irregardless, human beings, if they never existed, the Earth has constantly gone through cycles. The question is not whether or not the Earth has gone through cycles of cooling and warming. The question is, are we exacerbating that? The vast majority of scientists say we are.
Okay.
惯性是物质的性质之一。
Now this could negatively impact all sorts of coastal cities. This could be a gigantic problem. This is not like propaganda that's drummed up by some sort of
science
mouthpiece.
Propagandist, big business that seeks to make money off of this, or some sort of a
well, they were making money off of it.
Al Gore might have made some money off of it.
No, but like the agreement that we
really, nigga.
Who is America?
The parent can't sit here.
But here's the question. But why have a belief? Why have a belief as to whether or not global warming is real or not real? I don't necessarily have an opinion on climate science. I really don't.
Because
if
I just find that when things
you don't understand the science. It's not presented to us just by Al Gore.
Right.
Al Gore made a film, and he's been called like the first green billionaire.
Yeah.
He's made a shitload of money off of that.
And he flies in his private plane because he's so worried about the emissions.
It's possible, yes. One of the things that they're figuring out how to pull carbon out of the atmosphere and even possibly reuse it.
Really, nigga?
There's all sorts of things that people are trying to do. Right, but why are you saying that you don't think it exists? Here it is.
Maybe because it got so politicized?
Studies into scientific agreement on human-caused global warming. And look at all the studies.
Look at all those chickens.
This is the Union of Concerned Scientists.org.
Yeah. They almost, it's a pretty broad consensus.
Who are they polling? Is it the people that are a part of
306 scientists to confirm over 97% of climate scientists agree, and over 97% of the scientific articles find that global warming is real and largely caused by humans.
This is the whole
but you're
point.
saying you don't believe it.
I don't just start at a place
of
not believing something.
No, it's not.
You think you should start with believing everything.
No, it's not believe either or. Not believe yes, not believe no.
Yeah.
But don't say you don't believe.
Yeah.
Learn about it.
Yeah.
Learn about it and then have an opinion. But you're stating this opinion without having any real understanding of what climate science is.
But that's exactly what an opinion is. I'm not going, like I said, if you said that, Candace, you went on to 10,000 college campuses and you said that global warming wasn't real, then we'd have a problem. You and I are just having a conversation.
Yeah, but why have an opinion on something that you don't have data about? This is my question. Like, I don't necessarily have an opinion on climate science. I really don't. Is that the vast majority of people who study it are in agreement that human beings are affecting it.
Democratic
We're talking
Party.
about a different subject.
I know, but
politics versus science.
But this has been politicized. That's the thing.
Science has been politicized.
Yes, it has. Global warming in particular has been politicized. 100% it has been politicized. At the end of the day, I don't really care.
It has been politicized.
Really, nigga?
But I think that's also maybe why you're saying you don't agree with it so quickly.
Right.
Because it's an ideological right-wing point.
Right.
Is that global warming isn't real.
Right.
If you're one of those people that thinks global warming isn't real, you're almost always on the right.
No,
scientists get funded. That is a fact.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that the funding affects the scientific research and the data, which they all agree on. And this is universally across the entire planet.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of scientists would not stake their reputation on false data.
What they're saying is not that the only reason why the world is getting warm is because human beings. That the only reason why the climate isn't totally static for the rest of eternity is because of human beings. What they're saying is we are negatively impacting our own environment, and we're doing it because we have poor technology and we use coal and fossil fuels and emissions, and we're raising our CO2 levels.
If chimps were everywhere and they had full freedom the way people do, we'd have a fucking serious problem. It would be chaos. You wouldn't be able to leave your house. If there was as many chimps as there were people, you would never be able to get to your car. They would mug you every chance they got. They would rip your fucking feet off and fuck your ass. If you don't think chimps will steal babies and eat them, you haven't been paying attention to the literature. Crazy 800-pound silverback bursting through the trees. Samoan babies that can run fast. I mean, that's what's going to survive. Fucking diesel, square-headed, destroying machine. Incredible. Fast twitch, muscle fiber, and angst. And finally in his life, he's become special after years of neglect.
I got molested.
Did you?
Yes.
The fuck out.
Yep.
That's pretty
It was
legit,
incredible.
Callan.
Whoa.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know.
He sucked your dick?
No, he never sucked my dick.
How close did he get to it?
He just had it. He just had it. Well, he was.
It was hard.